today's video, we're going to walk through this mix that I've been working on. So the first video, did that one. If you want to watch that, that has the drums. Just kind of walking through it. Again, we're looking for a live mix. This is not like a super processed studio mix. This could be a great tool for how to mix live in a worship situation or a live band situation. And do some processing. So that's what we're doing in this video, is we're talking about processing. So we're gates, compressors, EQ, and blending, and how to get things where they should be within the mix. So like I said, that first video was all drums. Now we're going to go through the rest of the instruments in this video. So we're talking bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and keyboards, of which there are 2. So those are the instruments that we're going to be looking at. Let me play them for you. This is the same track. And here's that. And this is just a looped section. We're just looping it. Alright, so we're going to keep that running. And I'm going to mute stuff. Okay, so we're going to look at bass first. Alright. And again, we're going to use those same tools. Let's pull the bass up. There's a lot going on there, and there's a lot of woo. You can hear that. So let's look at compressor first. All right. Now again, being that this is a very dynamic track, the song is that kind of a song. There's a lot of dynamics in it. The drums are using hot rods. It's very textural. It's that kind of a thing. There's moments where it gets big, but there's a lot of dynamics to it. So I don't want to squish the vocal or the bass with the compressor. I don't want to squish the dynamic range on everything. So I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to hit it with the compressor a little bit. So I'm bringing the threshold down. So I'm just starting to hit it. I'm going to back the gain off. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm pulling down the peaks. You can hear that. Here's with it off. Here's with it on. Okay, I like that because it was starting to get kind of woofy on those low notes, and he's holding and playing high notes as well. Okay, now I'm not going to gate it. Gating the bass doesn't make any sense. The only time I would gate a bass if there was some funky noise going on when he wasn't playing that I want to get rid of. But again, why would you gate a bass? Doesn't make sense. So EQ. Here is with a low pass, so cutting out high frequencies. I don't really need them. Let's find some spots where maybe there's some extra funkiness going on where we can. So there's that woo. We can hear that. So I'm sweeping. There's a lot of energy right there. So I'm going to pull that back just a little bit. It's a big part of the tone too, so I don't want to go nuts. Listen if I take out too much. It starts to not sound like a bass very much. So we want to leave some of that in there, but we want to cut it back a little bit. Again, the compressor is helping us with that too. Now he's also playing those high notes, and those right up in here. Right about there. You can hear them pop out when I use the EQ. So I'm going to leave that there and give him a little of that. Alright, I like that. So here's without it, without the compressor, without the EQ. With compressor and EQ. Okay, good. Let's move on to acoustic guitar. Now this is a fairly acoustic guitar driven. He's playing a lot of just chunking sort of 8th note rhythm. So that's a really, really important part to this whole thing. All right. So again, I'm going to start with compressor, and I'm going to tighten up that dynamics. So I'm going to bring him up a little bit here. Let's look at the compressor. Okay, I just turned it on. Turning off makeup gain, so it's just flat. Now I'm going to start hitting him with the compressor. Okay, hopefully you can hear that. So I just pulling it down. So as he hits the threshold, the compressor is bringing the volume down. Okay? Now I don't have any makeup gain on this. So now we want to be careful that we don't take out too much and we end up changing his dynamics of his strumming pattern. That's a balancing act. But again, I want to tighten it up a little bit. Okay? I don't think I'm going to do any makeup gain. I think I'm just going to pull him down a little bit. So I'm evening him out a little bit. Okay, let's look at EQ on this. Okay, that's on. I had some stuff on there already. So do you hear the brightness? So I'm bringing up the highs. Let me pull those down so you can hear the difference. Pretty dramatic. So there's that little brightness. Now I'm going to get rid of some mid stuff here. Pretty broadly, too. A lot of times I will mix a acoustic guitar, especially when there's synth and more of a pad kind of thing. And the electric guitar, you'll hear us playing that kind of stuff too, where there's a lot of mids and low mids going on. And so by himself, he may sound a little thin, but in context, I think it works. So you got to think about where the instruments are sitting within the mix. So I'm going to take out a little more of the mids and low mids. So here's without EQ. You can hear there's a lot that I'm cutting out. There's with EQ. Here's without compression and EQ. With compression and EQ. So how I see that and hear that is we took this sort of broad spectrum guitar sound, which again, nothing wrong with it, but what I'm going to do in context here is I'm going to give that guitar a little more of a shift so it's up here. It's kind of sitting up here a little more. My electric guitar is going to kind of sit in here. I got a synth pad sitting over here. My bass is sitting down here, and actually he's coming up here a little bit too. So let's hear that acoustic guitar with the bass. Now let me turn off the EQ and the compression with the acoustic guitar. That's really noticeable. Do you see how there's so much stuff going on there? That we really, it clouds it up and really muds it up. So again, this is not like this is the way you have to do it. This is just the thoughts behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. And there's a thought process behind these things. I'm not just turning knobs and trying to make it sound like a radio. I'm listening, I'm trying to make the instruments work together so they sound good together, because that's what we're doing. We're playing together. They're not playing by themselves. All right? Okay, so let's listen to those two guys again. All right, and now let's add some other stuff. So we got a synth pad here. Okay, I'm really not going to do much of anything with this because it's literally just a synth pad. It's got a high pass on it. Here's without that. That's pretty dramatic. So we're just cutting out any low end, which we just don't need it. So this is just filling that in. I'm probably not going to play that very loud. I'm going to probably bring it down in the mix. So with the bass, you see I bring it down a little bit. It fits in there. All right, let's look at piano. Okay, so this is very single notey kind of stuff. Not a whole lot of chords, which is good. A lot of arpeggiated parts. I may compress it a little bit. Let me turn off the makeup gain. Let's just pull it down a little bit. Even it out. So that's with the compressor on. Here's the compressor off. It's pretty subtle. All right, let's look at EQ. Okay. Again, because of where he's playing, I'm going to probably get rid of some mid stuff and kind of lean more towards high frequencies. That click is the loop point, by the way. And I'm going to boost up the high frequencies a little bit. Add a layer to it. Okay, not a lot. I'm not doing a whole lot with it. So there's the piano by itself. Here's with EQ and compression off. With it on. It's not huge. Definitely you hear some stuff, but it's not huge. All right. Okay, so let's listen to electric guitar. We have not heard that yet. Actually, let's listen to acoustic guitar and piano together. So I think what we got going on here, I think we've got 2 tracks of the same thing. And I think one's at a time. This one is following the chords. The other one wasn't. So I'm going to switch, and we're going to use this one. And I'm going to do the same things that I just did. Compress it a little bit. Hearing them together. And we're going to hit that high pass. And we're going to give it that little bump up in the high frequencies. We have that little air there. Well, you can hear that jump out when I turn up those high frequencies. All right, so there's 2 guys together. One more instrument, electric guitar. Again, lots going on. So, high pass, he's already high passed. That's good. Let's look at the compressor. I'm gonna just touch it. Just touch it. I don't really want to hit it very hard. So I'm just hitting it with him. But I definitely want to cut out some of the mids. All right. So let's go to EQ on this one. Obviously, I have these panned. And let's cut out some of those low mids. And I've got to boost it a little bit in the highs. Probably a little too much. Okay. Now let's do the same thing to the other side. So I'm doing the same thing. We're close to the same thing. Let's hear them together. Okay, now let's put these together. So now we got to talk about balance a little bit. So pull this down, pull these guys down a little bit. So I got to think about who's driving, who's filling things up, who's just kind of in the middle, all right? I'm going to bring the track back a little bit so we just have some more stuff. I'm just going to let it play from back here. And I'm going to start playing with levels a little bit, all right? So again, I'm going to take guitar first. I'm looking at this as my foundation. This is color, the piano. They're kind of working together. Bass is just foundational. Here's that pad. Let's listen to the pad. Okay, as you see, as I push it up, that's too much. Okay, I like that level. Now let's look at electric. So electric, he's kind of playing color as well. Now in a live situation, I'm going to be actively mixing this, especially guitar, electric guitar, probably more than anything, because there's times he has little fills and stuff that I want to make sure I catch. Okay, now I'm going to add drums back in, just for fun. We'll listen to this together. We're building to a chorus here. My effects are muted. Just turn the reverb back on. So now I'm just adjusting the levels a little bit. I really like the bass and drum relationship. So guitar, you see how he jumped kind of up there with what he's playing. All right, so you get the idea. So I'm going through, I'm crafting the sound that I'm looking for, and then I'm seeing how that's blending and mixing with the other sounds, all right, and the other parts of the tracks. So that's this mix. Check out the next video. We're going to talk vocals. If you want to go back and look through the drum one, check that one out, and hopefully you're getting something from these, and I do appreciate you watching.